But
Well, one of the things that irks me about all sides of politics right now, from Congress to the White House to state houses and everywhere, is that nobody has simple solutions to things anymore. Now, let's talk about the immigration thing just for a second, because, like you said, that was important to you when you're living in Arizona and you still see the importance. And I agree. Immigration used to be a really simple thing until they started adding all these crazy rules to it. Now, taxes used to be a really simple thing until they started adding all these crazy rules to it. With the Republicans, with the Democrats, we're never going to get to the point where they cut out the forest worth of paper that run the IRS, so the forest worth of paper that run the Department of Homeland Security. It'd be great if we could, but my ideal candidate would be somebody who has knowledge of the system and the capability to come in and simplify. Not add new layers of law on top of old layers of law that aren't working. We need to go back to like a 1960s, 1970s version of immigration to make it work. And needs to not just be focused on the immigrants, it needs to be focused on the reason they're coming here. The reason they come here is because people will hire them. People hire them because they will do the work. So those are the issues that need to be addressed as much as, for immigration. And we need to see immigration as a workforce issue. And then we need to address the things like the drug issue on the border as a totally separate thing. I think a lot of times we get them confused because there seems to be this big overlap. Coyotes run drugs, coyotes run people. And that's the overlap. But dealing with the drug issue needs to be separate than dealing with the immigration problem. People in California, Arizona, all the way up into Montana, Wyoming, Nebraska depend on immigrant labor for doing everything from picking apples and oranges to doing the wheat harvest. So how do we meet that need for the employers without them having to break the law?
And that goes back into what we are talking about, is how do you weigh the benefit of one?
And how do you simplify it? And that's the thing that I don't see with either party. I would like somebody to come along who has the knowledge and experience to simplify and get us back on track. And until we eliminate all these layers of bullshit, we're not going to be able to, Democrats ain't going to be able to sit down with the Republicans and talk, because we're not talking about the basic facts. We're talking about the stacks of bullshit that we've stacked on top of each other.
What were you going to say, AJ?
oh, I was just saying, yeah, and I'm not even sure. I agree completely, and I just don't know if we'll see that at the federal level because, and the states, uh, I mean, like in the military, when you have commanders and they go out into different areas of responsibility, right? And then they have people under them, and they require, just to make them operational, they need to be autonomous and have their own authorities. And they can't just push everything back up the chain to get approval on everything that they do. Otherwise, they'll just have their hands tied, and then they can't effectively manage the space and all of the horrible things going on in that space themselves. And that's always I've seen, like Arizona, New Mexico, and definitely parts of Texas that, I mean, have tremendous problems that while their hands are tied from the federal government, and they butt heads. And Arizona is one of the states that in many years past has always been butting heads with the federal government, trying to enact laws and whatnot, because they're just trying to figure out a solution themselves. But they are, if you call it their battle space, they're the battle space owners, and they understand their problems more than the federal government ever will. So when you have a community that's so high up, and how in tune are they really with all the issues that are going on? And there's a lot of different, yeah, I mean, just, yeah, border crime to narcotics to the actual transient, just the movement of people. Those are all separate issues, and they've gone after a few. There used to be a program called Operation Jumpstart. There's a lot of border state governors that came together, activated National Guard reservists to augment Customs Border Patrol, and also they actually built a wall along a lot of the border which was just a vehicle barrier to stop a lot of the narcotics traffic. And even at a high level, you get ideas and a tremendous amount of funding pushed to a huge operation that goes on for many years, cost a ton of money. So they built up pylons, steel pylons. I can't remember if they're 16 or 18 feet tall, but massive pylons spaced out every couple feet between mountain ranges to stop narcotic and weapons trafficking and also all sorts of stuff, ultimately for security, because there's tons of stuff every minute of the day moving back and forth across the border that we have no idea about. So they built this massive wall of vehicle pylons in the name of just to make it more secure. And um, it was the same week that they finished a section in southwest Arizona. Um, we found out that they were already driving massive teeter-totters that they constructed and driving Chevy Avalanches over this massive wall of pylons. And it took them less than a week to basically countermeasure this wall that we've built, because the manpower it would actually take and the equipment and the technology to monitor the entire border is just too incredible.
Well, I think we found our next topic for the panel discussion, but we're gonna have to wrap it up.
Right,
so yeah, so hey, I'd like to thank you both for contributing, and hopefully, next time we'll have more to offer and continue the discussion. So, thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for having us, though. Yeah, it's good.
Nice meeting you, AJ.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Dan.